Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7 a.m. and this is Thursday, the 15th of September 2022. Yes, it's mid-September as we head on down, approaching that exciting time of the year, Christmas. But just before we get there, let me warmly welcome you to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Ria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago, good morning Trinidad, those of you in the Caribbean and viewing us on the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Julian Skeet, it's good to have you back.
Yes. Morning indeed. Beautiful background in the mix. It's been that kind of week with everything happening. We saw yesterday, I think it was within the last few days, responses coming from the Chief Secretary having broke his silence and literally going from 0 to 100 real quick, getting to that point of the House and a discussion in relation to if the discomforts are so serious and there are so many, giving the opportunity and permitting for a motion of no confidence to be brought in him, and then certainly the members of the House, only the 15 elected members, being able to make that decision. Very interesting development.
I hear you, Julian. At the same time, I think the public is getting a little wary of the situation. Of course, we want to see a positive outcome, but at the same time, we are getting wary. It seems as though from all corners, all of a sudden, persons who really have little or no stake in this have a lot to say as well. So the saga continues.
Yes, it does. We also saw yesterday meetings taking place between the Chief Secretary and the Minister of Finance, because let's not lose focus. Very
Budget
shortly,
day.
we're going to have Budget Day coming up, and there's still a need in terms of the required funding to be received by Tobago, coming out of the Budget Day, in terms of being able to move us forward, and to cover recurrent as well as development expenditure and so on. So those are all areas that we look forward to seeing what the outcome would be within the next few weeks. September is an interesting time. It's also a very a serious time and a very demanding time at this point, even within the arms of the THA and the government service, particularly because you're coming to what is the end of the financial year.
Yeah.
And therefore there's the need to wrap up on a number of areas and so on, in terms of treating with payments and bills and that kind of thing. So it's that kind of time within the space in TNT, both at the level of the THA and central government.
And also happening in Tobago hotels to face disconnection from TN and this is happening after the COVID-19 pandemic, when a lot of these establishments would have been closed or operating at reduced revenues. So you look at TN looking to cut some cables, cut the power after they've been through all of this.
Yeah, very, very interesting times ahead. But viewers, at this point, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Ria and Julian. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 15 September 2022. Calypso Rose called on Chief Secretary Farley Augustine and Deputy Chief Secretary Watson Duke to behave. According to a Newsday article, Calypso Rose condemned the power struggle ongoing between the two men and said it does not bode well for the people of Tobago. Saddened by the public disagreements between Augustine and Duke, Calypso Rose instructed them to find a way to work out their differences. She said there's a lot of work to get done on the island and energy is being wasted in dealing with the situation. Meanwhile, budget discussions took place in Port of Spain yesterday between Finance Minister Com Imbert and Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Farley Augustine. In June, Augustine presented a budget statement for the Tobago House of Assembly worth $3.97 billion. Discussions between the Finance Minister and the THA are customary before the national budget reading. It allows the Finance Secretary a chance to negotiate with the Finance Minister for Tobago to receive what it needs for its development. The national budget will be read on Monday, 26 September. And nationally, cases of influenza virus increased significantly in the country compared to the previous year. However, epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines believes it may not be a fair comparison since testing was more focused on COVID-19 last year. Speaking at the Ministry of Health COVID-19 update, he said that influenza seems to be one of the more dominant non-COVID-19 diagnoses manifesting itself, with the H3N2 influenza strain mostly in circulation. Dr. Hines explained that increased movement among the population and travel are the major factors contributing to higher influenza cases. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Julian and Ria.
Thank you, Candice, for bringing us the news there in 90 seconds. Ria, we're heading straight on into some birthday celebrations this morning.
Definitely.
All right, so let's get going with some birthday celebrations on the lineup this morning. And we get started this morning with Dr. Alimayu Chadban. Wishing you a happy birthday, Dr. Alimayu Chadban. Out and about there in the field with the vaccination drive and so on happening here in our Tobago space. And we head straight across to
Carla Davidson. Carla, happy birthday going out to you. You still rock it, girl. You still look good. Happy birthday. Trust that you enjoy.
This gentleman, no stranger. To the Seventh-day Adventists and in the Tobago space here seeking to make a difference. We want to wish Diamond Andrews a happy birthday. Diamond Andrews, wishing you the very best.
And Denise Phillips is celebrating her birthday. Denise,
yes,
have a great one out there. Lots of love going out to you.
This is a special one to me. This is my family. And in fact, the birthday was celebrated yesterday. But if I know her any at all, she's going to continue in that celebration, and she joins us on the live usually from out there in the States.
Oh, okay.
I want to wish you a happy birthday, Denise Phillips. We trust that you have an enjoyable one.
Maurice Goddard is celebrating her birthday. Maurice, love going out to you. All the best to you. And Maurice is known throughout the Tobago space with photography, always out there doing something good.
On screen with us now, known to many as Corice AQ Nancis. All right, and we're sending a happy birthday shout out. Corice Achakwashi Nancis, this is your day. We want to wish you a happy birthday, and we trust that you continue to enjoy the birthday celebrations. I know Mr. Nancis has got you well taken care of.
All right, and this is Victoria McNeil of Torrey's Bakery, located in Lowlands, Tobago, celebrating her birthday today. Auntie Vicky, happy birthday going out to you. Lots of love from the entire family. And we've got my cousin celebrating his birthday. And this is Mikhail Castillo Richardson celebrating his birthday. So Mikhail, love going out to you from the family in Tobago, in Trinidad, in the US. Love going out to you. And this lovely lady is Karen Johnson celebrating her birthday today. So Sister Karen, love going out to you from Pastor Rolex Johnson and the entire family out there in Speyside and Patience Hill. So love going out to you. Trust that you have a great one. You look gorgeous, sister. Gorgeous.
And I see she's on the 360 move.
I tell you.
So on, yes, doing her thing indeed. Ria, what does our rundown look like for this morning?
Oh, Julian Skeets.
What does the rundown look like for this morning?
A nice rundown. Let me say a nice rundown. A nice rundown. So we kick things off this morning with Ricardo Phillip. He's going to be on the program with us this morning and getting his take as political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement on the THA and the PDP rift. So we're going to be chatting with him this morning on that. And closing us off this morning, we're going to have Shaquille Sylvester, a content creator, The Story Time, and he's going to chat with us on his video launch. Now, I was privileged while at Tobago Day. I met up with Shaquille there. I think I might have left a little bit early, but I know he was about. I know there were plans for him to perform at Tobago Day on the 28th of August. So I'm not sure if he did, but I guess he'll tell us more about it.
Yes,
but he's just recently launched a video, and we're excited to see what he was able to produce.
Certainly, to give us a little more insight into the happenings out there. And Shaquille, indeed, one of our creatives that we continue to look forward to. And this morning, let me just shout out on the live with us. We have Kimmery Richardson. Thomas is on the live with us. And we also have Ty Richardson, Alicia Richardson Williams. We are the entire family is on.
So my sister and two cousins, Tynisa, Ty, good morning. Alicia, good morning.
Yes, we have Destiny Savory on with us this morning. And yes, Destiny, your plan should be to celebrate in Tobago. I see you have two options there. We'll take you in Tobago for the celebrations for your birthday.
Yes.
All right, Auntie Dora is on with us this morning.
Good morning, Auntie Dora Lyons.
Good morning to you, Leslie Ann Ellis, our very own Leslie Ann Ellis in the mix. Ria Orr, morning. Anika Wright, Carol Fraser Davidson, Kuki Melville, Liesel James, each and every one of you continuing to join us here on the Tobago Updates morning show.
Joyce Alexander Lewis says, blessed morning, everyone from Florida. So good morning to you out there in Florida.
Morning. And shout outs to those of you viewing from Florida. In fact, those of you throughout the U.S. connecting with us, those in Canada. The viewers are far and wide.
That's right.
Far and wide indeed.
But locked on to Tobago Updates.
Locked on to Tobago Updates. And we really want to thank you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show as we continue to come to you here live, bringing you all the information and the happenings here within the Tobago space. Viewers, we thank you so much. Those of you joining us via Gael, those joining via M&E TV, those listeners on Smash Radio, and also our listeners on Street 91.9 FM, and those of you joining us online. This is your opportunity to share the live.
I wanna get up out my chair, 'cause everybody's getting so lazy. Don't want nobody touch my hair, 'cause a lot of sisters acting too crazy.
You're moving your ways. Entertainment. Yes, we're bringing it to you. Tobago Updates. It's all about the new entertainment show. The VIP experience hosted by your boy, Snoopy. Tune in every Wednesday from 8 p.m. and on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. We're bringing to you the best Tobago has to offer. We're showcasing interviews, music, and everything that is fun. So join me on Tobago Updates for the VIP experience. Yeah, man.
Watch how your back in back on me. Like about to overload. Watch them sexy Tobago woman. Beauty from head to toes in the sun. Skin food don't need no lotion.
Life, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic
She
Day.
says our destiny. She get next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Life, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
People that know going on. You're for young brother. 17th of September. It's all about Dengole in Tobago. Yes, people. Shorty's residence comes alive. Young brother, when you performing live and live, all my ladies make sure and be there because I'm gonna make you feel it.
Bingole with me now. Come away.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. It is 7:13 a.m. and we come to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. I am Julian Skeet, and in this segment of viewers, we will be chatting with Ricardo Phillip, and he's the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. And this morning we're speaking to current affairs and the situation within the Tobago space. Morning to you, sir.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be here. I must ask you, where can I get a copy of that track there?
Don't worry, man. We can make that available for you. We can make that available for you.
I find that should have been the national anthem. More than natural than that.
Certainly. As we get started this morning, we're going to head straight on in. Just give us a quick update on where things at with the class action reform movement.
Well, my political mission is a tedious one, and one of real struggle. It's a real struggle. It take you a while to build this philosophy of fairness and equity and transparency. And the political history of Trinidad and Tobago kind of has not and will not understand that unless you have a changing of the mind and a re-educating of the mind and so on. So for me, the struggle is I continue and will continue to do my part in ensuring that I spread the word, spread the message in my own capacity as the case may be. So the work is going on.
All right. As we start this morning, it's no secret the situation in the Tobago space, the back and forth, and the discussions happening where you would have seen in the first instance the Deputy Chief Secretary, part of the current executive and political leader of the PDP, would have put out a video which kind of triggered things in the public space. And then you saw the following day, Chief Secretary, as part of his media briefing, down to the very end after dealing with a number of issues relevant to Tobago, sought to speak to what would have been that outstanding video. And then that followed with about 2 or 3 more videos coming from the Deputy Chief and political leader. And then after some time, the Chief Secretary breaking his silence and fast-tracking to the point of getting to the House, and if things are of such a great concern, emotion of no confidence. What are your initial thoughts as someone within the political space, Ricardo Philip?
Well, this is nothing new in terms of internal power struggle, party power struggle. With all fairness to the PDP, like all other political parties, the PDP is going through its own teething, and I guess you have that power struggle. I mean, from the get-go, you know that I have anticipated these type of problems happening because you have a political leader who is not the chief secretary. You have that kind of dynamic playing off. Come on, it's a disaster, a recipe for disaster. So I'm not surprised. However, I don't spend too much of time, trying to articulate and trying to break it down scientifically what's going on with the PDP and in terms of the PDP political system, because they build the party's philosophy on a false narrative, and I have said in my campaign that this will not work. The type of politics that the PDP has played off is the exact politics that the PNM has like you photocopy something and try to change it up and so on. So I'm sure it will not work out. The flip side to that is that it creates a sense of unnecessary anxiety for the population. We are going through a struggle economically. The people is ready for progress. The people is ready for the economic development. But you have 9 months, 10 months in, and you have these type of things playing off, and that doesn't work as well for entrepreneurs, for investors, and so on. So I think, however, I must say that what should have happened is that the PDP should have worked out that internally. I mean, that is too early to have this kind of public, back and forth in terms of, that kind of power struggle. That should have been worked out early. So it represents the level of immaturity is one, and it represents, the fact that they're new and no experience and so on. So I give that, but I'm saying that at the same time, good sense has to prevail in this instance. Tobago, you have an island to run. You have an island that was left in disaster by the PNM, and you have to now fix that. And that is not no easy task. That is a difficult challenge. And how do you, pursue this with the kind of level-headedness that you need when you have this kind of internal struggle? It does. I mean, for me, I am a supporter of the PDP. But I do feel a sense of sadness that this is happening because I live here and my business is dependent on the economy and a host of other people. And more importantly, you hear people complaining every day how difficult it is, the lack of opportunities and so on. So there's so much work to be done to be spending time on these internal bickering. It's just sad.
So what are your thoughts in terms of, thus far it's been just about 9 months or so in terms of the PDP within office. What are your thoughts in terms of the work and the efforts being made thus far on the part of the current administration, bearing in mind 9 months is ultimately not a very long time?
Yeah, I think by 9 months, you should have a sense of direction. I think Tobago lack that sense of direction, that cohesive, collective sense of direction, that we are on an economic development path, or we are on a restructuring path, or some kind of path, some kind of definition. Have to narrow it down. 9 months you can't do much. But you can in fact define where you're heading. And I think there's so much, and again, it's lack of experience. And you know, I won't fault them because of lack of experience, but the facts are that Tobago is, you're not sure where we're going. And that is really uneasy to me. It's uneasy to a lot of people. People are still personally struggling. But what is happening is this, and this is consistent with this type of politics, is that every time an election campaign is won, it's like a war. The winning party and those who support the winning party, not necessarily those at the helm, but there are those who support the winning party are more concerned about sharing the spoils. There are people who, the sense of entitlement, you know, they promised me a job in 2 weeks, 9 months now I ain't get nothing. And you have that kind of fighting for the spoils happening even within the PDP. And you know, this impasse fallout is not the only fallout that the PDP is having. There are people who are dissatisfied because they didn't get something that was promised to them during the election campaign. And so the emphasis now is to make sure we give this one who gets and make sure this one gets. And the island is not being at the forefront of the daily discussion. So it's about that kind of conflict. So they allow themselves, they find themselves in a predicament that the PNM has always been, where you have to now decide who gets what. But you build a campaign on that. One person told me that you know, he was surprised when somebody called about 2 weeks after the election. You know, what's going on? I ain't get nothing yet. But we pay you to campaign. But the person said, what are you talking about? I campaign on the understanding. I walk with you on the understanding that when you get in the power, I get something. And that is what is destroying this country. That there's a sense of entitlement for some people who feel that because they campaign, political campaign, their entitlement. The politicians, on the other hand, has give you that impression that, okay, when we get in the power, you're going to get fixed up. So you have that energy and time is being wasted on who get what at this point in time. And the rest of the country is just there and nothing is happening.
Do you believe there's a difference in the philosophy with governance between the chief secretary and the deputy chief secretary at this point?
Well, there's a reality that the chief secretary have to deal with. And that is, of course, the governance of the island. And what you're realizing now is that all the promises that you made on the platform, the reality hits, you know, that, you know, these things is totally different. There's a different scenario because your governance is governed by law. Your party campaign, you know, you can say what you want on a political platform, but when you get into office now and you realize, oh, I'm restricted, there are laws, there are rules, and there are procedures to follow, and you just can't take up something just and give it to somebody. These are challenges. And I'm saying that you have to concentrate when you're campaigning on the governance part and not the politic part. The politics is just the vehicle to get you there. But when you get into office, you must understand that this is not a private business. You speak as though it's a private business. You operate as though it's a private business. And when you get in there, you realize that this is not a private thing. You know, this is something where eyes are on you and expectations have exceeded my own expectation and a whole set of dynamics you have to deal with. So obviously, what the leader of the PDP doesn't understand is that the chief secretary has a responsibility to the state. And this is not about party politics. And therefore, obviously, there are some things that you might want as a politician that he cannot give or cannot do. And everybody must understand that. The state governance is a different arrangement from the party governance.
All right. So what would you recommend from where you sit as a citizen and also involved in the political leader for the class action reform movement? What would you recommend as the next step or the moving forward to ensure that we continue to keep in focus ultimately the benefit, the growth, and the development of the people and Tobago?
I am not sure, and to be quite frank, I am not sure, and that the PDP understand what is the mission at this point in time. If you judge from the political campaign, you would know that they subscribe to a politics of help out and handout. If you see all the secretaries and the activities that they're involved in, it's really about help out and handout. The PDP is not concentrating on empowerment and empowering communities and so on. So when you do empower communities, by extension, you empower Tobago. And if they understand that, and that the policies and I don't want to like to use the word programs, but the policies and all the implementation must concentrate on developing the people of Tobago, transcending your political sides and religion and all of that. But it must be for the development of the people of Tobago. Economically speaking, if you do that, because the people of Tobago has been ready for a number of years, economically, it's just the lack of opportunity. So the focus has to now be on economic development. And in so many different areas. And I spoke about that in my political campaign in food processing. I mean, I'm not talking about the little project here, the little kitchen garden here. I'm not talking about you gotta do so much more, because there are people willing, people ready to go into the high bushes, the high mountain to do gardening. You gotta open up the roads, you gotta do so many things. And I don't think that the PDP understands that. The PDP, as I said, has bought into the politics of help out and handout and are confined. It's almost impossible now to expect anything better from the PDP because of the foundation of the political philosophy.
What do you anticipate come next week at this sitting, the next sitting that is scheduled to take place?
Well, that's a tough one. You know, to be quite honest with you, I don't really give the kind of respect to those internal ramblings and so on. I really don't because there's so much more at stake. And for me, I'm confronted with it every day. People need help and so on. So when the politicians are engaging in stuff that is influenced by party politics and so on, I really don't spend much time, and I really don't want to make any predicament on it. But what I would say is that the PDP is in a situation where they must get their house in order. The chances of succeeding is very, very slim. They have a very slim percentage of succeeding. And so you cannot afford to waste time on these internal bickerings. One might argue, and many might argue that, you know, this is normal, the PNM have done it, but it hasn't worked for the PNM. It hasn't worked for any other political party. So why do you think it will work for you? You got to take a different direction. You got to take a different strategy in deciding how do we take Tobago forward. It have to be not just on PDP supporters and PDP philosophy, but you got to involve the island in this development. You got to have public referendum on certain subjects, especially the whole issue of internal self-government. You have to spend 2 years doing that. You got to engage the people. There are so many ideas and so many experiences and knowledge that still exists in Tobago that is not necessarily PDP or PNM that you can tap into and you should tap into. When you do that, you transcend the politics, you transcend the petty politics, you transcend the party politics, and then you enter the zone of development for the Tobago and the people of Tobago. And that's what we want to see. That is the kind of politics that I subscribe to.
Is it safe to say that it doesn't work in the, even if we just look at examples within Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Rowley started off with falling outs and issues with, former Prime Minister Manning, and for today he's the Prime Minister. There were fallouts with Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj and Basdeo Pandey, and he was able to reveal certain things. We come even into the Tobago space. Fallouts with the former Chief Secretary,
but we have
Kelvin Charles, just that the then political leader wasn't as successful in terms of being able to follow through.
We have a very rich history of these.
So if we look at the history, in some instances, these things seem to yield some kind of results.
Not necessarily.
Do you think that that's the expectation coming out here?
On one hand, it does, but in terms of the people, it doesn't. The people don't benefit from all of that. I mean, this party politics, power struggle is always power struggle. It's confined itself to just greed and nepotism and so on. It has nothing to do with the development of any island. You look at Trinidad and Tobago, all the falling out we have in the history of this country in politics has not really benefited the country and the people as a whole. And I'm saying that you must be able to make that distinction. What are the important issues? You must be able to make that distinction. And politicians has not been able to make that distinction in Trinidad and Tobago and think when you can grandstand, and of course it helps in terms of winning the election, but it has nothing to do with in terms of development. And the same scenario the PDP faces in Tobago. What is happening with the PDP right now has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the economical and other development of Tobago.
Is that to suggest, or are you also saying that the fallout that currently is taking place with the PDP does not directly impact the operations and the governance of the island of Tobago?
Yeah, but it doesn't benefit. It does impact, but it doesn't benefit. And we're talking about what if it benefited works in the interest of the people of Tobago, and it doesn't. It impacts negatively, more importantly, because when you have that kind of breakdown in politics, and if you go back in the history, as you just mentioned, our history, political history, and the way politicians behave in the past has added to more decay and more disrespect and contempt for public office and so on than anything else. So, what you have, you school children, Watson and Farley, and, you have that kind of behavior from even at school. So I'm saying that the days when politics used to be respected, days when politicians used to be respected, has long gone. And that all of that has attributed to the behavior and the characters of politicians and public office. When you're in public office, when you pursue the office, the desire for politics, there's a different behavior, different characteristics, a different, all of that. People started looking up to you naturally, and then you're required to behave. So I'm saying that, it impact, but it doesn't impact positively as far as the island is concerned. All right.
As we prepare to close this morning's interview, closing comments, less than a minute.
Well, I mean, the people of Tobago now have to take, I keep saying this, and I've said it before, and I say it again. We have played the dependency politics, dependent politicians and dependent leaders too long, and we have to now start taking responsibility as people for what we want, where we want to go. This is partly blame on the people and the ignorance that we live within, and politicians are able to get away with murder, literally murder, because your children suffer lack of opportunities, and you see it every day, people complaining, people going through hardship and so on. So we have to start taking responsibility. There are so much opportunities on the island that if the people don't open their eyes and start understanding the value of Tobago, the collective value of Tobago, and capitalize on that, then politicians are going to continue to lead us down the path, and I fear a path of no return.
All right, thank you very much there. Again, we got to leave it there. Ricardo Phillips, political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement, giving his perspective on the current happenings within the Tobago space. All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for continuing to join us here and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. And as I look on the live very quickly, I see joining us, yes, my cousin is on the live with us this morning. I see she has awoken early enough. Denise Phillips, as we would have had you in the spotlight there in the birthday segment a little earlier on. We trust that you continue to enjoy the celebrations coming from me, the entire family, and by extension, the Tobago Updates family. Viewers, we want to remind you, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
I said I can't wait for Tobago in October.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Susalands, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your lights can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning. Viewers, welcome back. It is the Tobago Updates morning show, and on our program, I'm privileged this morning to have with me my former colleague and friend, Shaquille Sylvester. He's a content creator. And this morning we are talking about his recently launched video. And the story time, Tutashinga. I think I got it right. Tutashinga. So he's going to tell us a little bit more about it. Shaquille, good morning. Welcome to you. It's good to have you on set with us.
Morning, everyone. Tobago, Trinidad by extension. Tutashinga is basically my latest project. It came about when I've never traveled before, right?
Right.
You understand? And the first time I actually left the country was about, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And what was the purpose of you leaving the country?
No, we had like work and different stuff, but certain things happened, But it was there now, you understand?
No, we want to know where you went, because you said left the country. We want to know where you went, because when you say leave the country, we assume outside of Trinidad and Tobago. We do not mean a flight from Iana Robinson International to Piarco.
True.
Right. So where outside of Trinidad?
I fed up do that.
You fed up do that?
I fed up go Trinidad.
All right. On the plane.
Yeah, I never even put on my passport.
Nice.
In so a small country, I go straight to the big one. You understand? Yeah, so I get to go to New York.
That's
right. People want to know is where I went to New York. I will finally get to fly now, boy.
All right.
So basically, this song is about that now. You understand?
Finally
get to fly. You understand? Yeah, basically that. From yard to up there, everything happened fast.
Yeah.
You understand? So our tuition is like the if you're wondering what is the definition of
what is the definition of tuition?
Is we will win.
We will win.
Yeah. So no matter what it is in life or which party is in life, you must win.
All right. Like and this is you there in New York.
Yeah. Does that look clean out there?
Yeah. I see you enjoying yourself there. And where did you shoot some of this?
If I tell you, I don't know,
Okay.
I don't know. I was lost up there. I was lost,
Some of your background looks very Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was lost. Times Square is the only place I can remember. That is in Manhattan, if I'm correct, right?
Well, okay, man. So you did, but you see that here. This is Manhattan for sure. The bright lights will tell you. All right. I guess the.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we could hear the words.
I think we're gonna get. We could get.
So that's Lion Jump.
There?
Yeah.
Okay. He was not a part of your group.
No.
Right. You happened to meet him out there. Okay.
True.
But in terms of the lyrics, give us an idea of what the lyrics, because we're not hearing much of it here.
Yeah, so basically I was like, things switch fast. Touchdown in a New York, and me never see a building so tall, me a pitch from my heart. Every creative know that it's hard to be talented and can't get a start. They don't know how much I cry. They don't know how much I try. to finally fly. You understand?
Yeah.
So basically like that. And
Now,
then you go into...
Is it just lyrics or is this all
Everything
true?
is true. Story time is true. It's our story. Everything I put forward is real. That, happen. Understand?
How long have you been on the creative stage? How long have you been putting yourself out there?
I think remember specifically 2011 around so.
Since 2011?
Yeah, that's between school and stuff.
Now that's a long time.
Yeah. But actually on like video and you see me, I was somewhere around 2015. Yeah.
All right, so you made it to the Big Apple. You made it out there to New York for the very first time. Finally, there's a stamp in your passport.
Yeah, boy.
And you put Tutashinga. I've got to get it. Tutashinga.
Tutashinga. Yeah, they say with accent. Tutashinga.
So okay, I got it now. Tutashinga.
Yeah, Tutashinga.
I got it. Tutashinga.
Thank you very much.
All right, Tutashinga.
Yes.
So no more Tutashinga. Tutashinga.
Right.
So you're putting yourself out there. Tell us what it took for you to do this in New York.
It's challenging as for time because I didn't have much time to do it.
Right.
If I tell you, most of the shots happen on Sunday evening night because I work as well. So when I have a free time, there's when I shoot.
So you were working while in New York.
Yes.
Right.
So that is when I get a chance to shoot. It was difficult, but it was fun.
Right.
You understand? Because while I'm shooting, I get to see new stuff, and I get to meet new people, like I bounce into Fat's call, and we reason. Plus, I even get a chance to perform and all these. If everything
Where did you perform?
I remember.
But did you perform at Tobago Day? I think I might
I do a little thing there.
You did a little thing for them?
Yeah, I do a little thing there too. If I see everybody warm in the States, I warm it too. But apart from that, I had some stuff I don't add more because it have any video.
Right.
When you see the video,
you don't want to take away from the video. I got it.
I get everything. They ain't go watch your video. I mean, population not small.
No. We want to see the video.
Yeah.
We want the public to watch the video.
Yeah, we got to get every one view. You understand?
All right.
Basically,
what is next for you? In fact, before we get to what is next for you, what in terms of the putting together of this video, who are those persons who worked on it with you? Now, I know that you're skilled and I know that you're talented and I know that you can be a one-man show, but I know that they would have taken other persons to help you to produce this because while you were there performing and posing, there would have been someone in the background shooting.
Yes.
So who are the persons who supported and assisted in the creation of this video?
A very good friend, Jamal Clark. As in the video industry, he's better known as Blue Jay Production. Very, very, very talented guy. And I must say, he's one guy that I've worked with. I work with several videographers, and this is nothing. Now, if other videographers watching, I'm not shooting no shot.
You gotta be careful,
Easy camera, I'm not shooting no shot. You understand? What I'm trying to say is that, sometimes I go and you meet new people. And Jamal work with me, you understand? And I don't know, he really good and he has challenged me, sometimes get me worried. That's how good he is. Because I know I good. When you see an next man good, it's like, you real good. So it's how to lay up your game. But he's extremely good. It's Jamal Clark. I don't know how much time I gotta say he good. He bad. You understand me? Yeah, bad. So he actually you have a friend in New York, and oh my God, to bring the name because I knew face from before, but I actually met him, get to know him in New York. And he directed the video. Now, if you see the end of the video, there's a logo. There's Blue Jay, there's Storytime, and then there's another logo. That logo, that guy there, he helped direct it as well. He played a major part as well up in New York. And so Jamal was just ready.
Yeah.
And I started, some of you had to beg them to do this and that. He was just ready. So when you see the video, you'll see class standard from Blue Jay Production.
And I'm really glad to hear that. Now I just need to put it out there that while Shaki was abroad, he would have been working online, not on the ground, on the ground, because I see some comments coming in here, and he would have been working online. And this would have been online, and I have to stress here, online, okay? I have to say here, because there's some comments coming in here that you might have been working with a visitor visa. So I have to put in here that you would have been working online. Okay. So when he mentioned that he was working,
get the facts right.
Yes, let's get the facts out there, right? Because social media is a different thing. He would have been working online. All right. He was, so as we continue chatting here with Shaquille Sylvester, a very talented young man. And the thing is, I've known Shaquille for a number of years. You've really put yourself out there. And this Tutashinga is going to really sell the story of your start and, you know, where you are now, being able to make it on the big stage, as you say. So what is next for you, Shaquille?
If I must say, you understand, I like everything to be a surprise.
So no hints as to what is next?
No, can't give. But just know you have more videos to come.
More videos to come.
More videos to come, and very soon too. I try to touch on different topics that people could relate to. Understand, like the unspoken debate, Fela, Tutashinga. And there's another one that a lot of people like the whole nation can relate to that's coming next.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, Shaquille, let me just say congratulations to you. And I tell you, we're pretty excited for you because we cannot wait to see what is next. And we are definitely going to check out that video. So I invite you viewers to check it out as well. Share it around with to your friends. And, you know, he's looking for those followers. He's looking for those people to say, yeah, good job. But I want to say here that Darius the Raven King Boris, I want to believe a friend of yours because he certainly is sending his support. He said, Palo, you really resemble Burna Boy. Big up your whole self still. All right, he said, big up your whole self still.
I taking a clout.
You're taking it?
Yes.
All right. Marcia Saunders says, hey, Shaquille, neighbor, long years. I haven't seen you. Wow, congratulations to you. Mom Ingrid must be proud.
True.
All right, so congratulations again to you. Good morning to Auntie Debbie Gomez out there in Trinidad. All right, so yeah, definitely some great things to expect from you, Shaquille Sylvester, our Tobago boy. All right, so we're going to check out that video. And viewers, we encourage you this morning to still, we've got some time, share the live, share the live, share the live.
Things switch fast, touchdown in a New York, and me never see a building so tall. Me a preach from my heart. Every creative know that it's hard to be talented and can't get a start. They don't know how much I cry.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
The Street 919 FM and the Tobago Updates presents the Tobago Updates Morning Show live simulcast on the Street 919 FM. Start your day with all the information you want and need with the simulcast of the Tobago Updates Morning Show live Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. on the Street 919 FM, the official station that defends the nation.
Live, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She says our destiny. Forget next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Settle down on the lady. He knows to say you are drive me crazy.
Guinness welcomes Mavado and his full band with rising superstars. Life, the concert, powered by Guinness and Strictly FX.
People that know going on. You're for young brother. 17th of September, it's all about Dengole in Tobago. Yes, people, Shorty's residence comes a lot young, but when we performing live in life, all my ladies make sure and be there because I'm gonna make you feel it.
Bingole with me now. Come away.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It is 7:49 a.m. and this is the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. In this segment, viewers, we have online with us Rhonda Hackett, spokesperson for the Crown Point residents and the peace movement. Morning, morning.
Hi. Good morning. Pleasant morning to one and all.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me on your morning program.
Right. Excellent. We're hearing you loud and clear. All right. So we want to make the connection this morning for the benefit of those viewers. PEECE, the Peace Movement. Tell us what this stands for and when would this have been organized? Just to give a little background.
Peace, most definitely. So PEACE is an acronym and it stands for Provide Equivalent Equitable Compensation for Everyone. This group started in 2018 at the offset of the announcement by the government to acquire lands compulsory towards the expansion of the airport project. The purpose and initiative behind the group was to have a voice and representation for the residents of the area who have been affected by this land acquisition process, and to ensure that there is fair compensation in the negotiation process and a smooth transition as it relates to their relocation. So by very essence of the name, it shows that the community and group are in collaboration with the airport development project, but are seeking towards the well-being and smooth transition of the relocation of residents in the area.
Good morning, and it's good to have you on our program this morning, Rhonda. For the viewers out there, I mean, when we put ourselves in the position of some of these residents, of course, we think this must be very difficult for them. What is the feel on the ground? What is the mood of those persons who have to pack up their livelihoods, pack up their lives, because some of them would have been born there, they had their children there, they were raised there. What is the mood of the residents who now have to pack up their lives and leave that location? And we understand the purpose for doing so, but what is the mood on the ground at the same time?
The mood on the ground at this point in time is extremely traumatic. I had one of the residents calling and expressing her concerns for her children, since after the last eviction attempt by the government, she was expressing that her children are not sleeping at night, and they were asking, Mommy, is this what the government intend to do to us? And so I know even in terms of the family that was affected on the 11th of August, the residents are in need of psychological support and treatment even at this point in time. And so many persons are fearful for their well-being as it is right now. Look out for it. Tomorrow, the government has expressed in writing that their intention will be to evict persons from their homes. Please bear in mind that none of these residents have received any form of compensation. And so it is a very scary, frightening process as it is right now, even for the residents, and it should be for us as Tobagonians looking on, because it therefore means that the democracy that we think we have, the independence that we have just celebrated, is not truly being honored in the manner in which this whole process is being treated. The THA has expressed willingness to assist with a smooth transition and has been lending residents support. But the reality is there are several of them who have made attempts and efforts to move. Some persons have their roofs off, some persons have a lot of their belongings removed from their homes, but not everyone has been capable of having all their belongings and their families relocated to another location, and considering that they have been given no monies. And I guess if you should allow me to elaborate on that aspect further.
Yes.
We are being told by our parliamentary representative that these persons have been paid and refused to move. I must indicate this is erroneous information, and it is negatively stigmatizing these residents. This information is not accurate. Now, there is another section to which the government intend to acquire where acquisition had taken place in the past. And so that matter is complicated. It is not right to stigmatize this new era where no form of acquisition has ever taken place and say to John public that these residents have been paid before are unwilling to move. They are yet to receive any form of compensation. Those who have agreed, and even those who would have said we are not satisfied with the compensation, we will take our 80% advance payment and continue to negotiate. No one has received any payment, and yet the government is insisting ensure that you are completely removed by today, which is the 15th. So come tomorrow, there will be trauma. If all government intends to act in a very barbaric and high-handed way, it's almost bullying, I would say, to have persons be removed from their homes without any consideration for the efforts that they have put forward. And then these persons are now also being told you have to pay to get these monies, pay to get your own money, and it's not $100 or a 10,000, it's in the hundreds of thousands. So I am seeing all wronged where the residents are being advantaged as opposed to ensuring that this process takes place in a humane and amicable manner.
We would have had the minister on just up to a few weeks ago, Minister Shamfa Kojo, and she spoke to the fact where a number of the residents would have responded. She also made a reference to the fact that the due process was followed in terms of being able to acquire lands. She indicated further that they were notified by way of the relevant notice that there was going to be eviction the first time around when it came to light within recent times. And once again, notifications would have been given based on what came out of the case where it is the injunction was not granted by the court. How do you respond to that at this point in terms of clear indications on the part of the minister there that due process was followed to give residents the very best opportunity?
Now, if one is familiar with the Land Acquisition Act, you will be aware that this act is one that fits a colonial system, not a democratic governance. And as such, governments that have in the past would have implemented policies that would allow for a smoother transition of persons whose properties are being acquired. This struggle that we continue to struggle is not one that pertains to law. It is a political struggle. Governments that have acquired lands in the past created policies that would have aided the movement of persons in a smooth and humane manner. So the reason why the court had no bearing result for the well-being of the resident is because the law itself cannot assist and support the resident in a meaningful way. It is the ministers and the government who are supposed to do so. Hence the reason, if you were following this matter closely, you would have realized that although the matter was before the court, the government, Commission of State Land, would have continued to issue their eviction notices to residents during the court process. And that is because this is bigger than the court. attorneys have indicated that there is only so much that they can do based on what the law allows them to do. Who really have the power to treat with residents in a humane way are the ministers who we have voted into power, who would walk around and indicate my brothers and sisters when they won't vote, but now that they're in power to treat us as brothers and sisters, we are not seeing that. So this is not a legal battle. And for most of it, it has never been a legal battle. It is more a political fight, seeking after all ministers to treat our residents in a humane manner. This is why the THA could have put their policy now in place to provide assistance. The same could have been done. And I think our Minister of Parliament has not done as much as she can. Instead of reaching the people, going and see really what their needs are, the approach is to go on social media and do PR. Much, much better could have been done. If you look at what, and I continue to harbor on this point, because precedent has been set, how they treat with the Piarco International Airport, its construction and the acquisition of those lands. Orapoon Gardens was created first. These residents, some of by far less means, were upgraded with the properties that were provided for them, and then the land were taken for the construction. I am saying, why better and the same cannot be done for Tobagonians? Why stay on social media and speak rather than connect with real humans who are feeling real pain and trauma? I continue to say better can be done, and come tomorrow, we don't know what the government will do. This is not a legal battle. This is what all politicians and leaders who have the power to do better are choosing not to.
All right, Ms. Hackett, let me ask you here. How many persons are still to be relocated at this point in time?
There are seven families still within this process, seeking feverishly to have their properties relocated, their families relocated, etc. And then the compensation that has been offered, to which they have not been able to acquire any of it, is unreasonable and unacceptable. So I will give an example. There's one family that has a household of 7. When they have been calling around seeking rent, the figures that are being quoted is around $10,000 and $15,000. And the amount of monies allocated for monthly rent on their behalf is at best $9,000, between $6,000 to $9,000. So they then would obviously have to dig into their pockets. There are persons in the area who would have embarked upon bread and breakfast, accommodation, guest houses, etc. And the THA years ago would have encouraged us to do so, knowing that our major source of income and economy is tourism. Now, many of these individuals are feeling the brunt of this ambitious effort, where they would have built guest houses, etc. In one instance, up to 9 apartments fully furnished, and there is no consideration in terms of their loss of earning. They are fully booked for this carnival to come and up to December, and still these persons have no due rest or support. And I'm sure there is also no consideration for them in terms of the development that is currently taking place. So I'm saying that we as Tobagonians need to open our eyes and see the injustice. Yes, we are for the development, but if you are speaking development, then the people who are to be affected should not be demoralized and demoted in terms of the socio-economic status. As it is right now, the Act says persons ought not to be brought to less than the current state of worth. And this is exactly what is happening.
What's the next step for the peace movement at this point? Given, as you said, the notice would have indicated, I think it is today or tomorrow, in terms of eviction taking place. What's the next step as we wrap this morning's interview?
Yes, most definitely. Well, just the manner in which the notices were served. Persons were treated as if they were criminals when these notices were served. Police come in with big machine guns just to serve a notice. persons' doors were opened and they went into persons' property without their consent. Persons' fence were broken through and their doors were ponged down and their keys were findled with. All these actions took place by the persons who sought to serve notices with the police. Now, if you could act like this in order to serve a notice, it leaves one to then wonder what would you do to these residents who are not criminal in your effort to evict them. I am encouraging all of Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago by extension to come out in support of these residents in their plight. I would like us to fight against injustice. We have not said we are unwilling to move. What we were requesting was more time in order that a smooth transition can be made. There are persons who would have completely moved out, and there are others who are literally unable to do so, not because they have made no effort, but because the time frame given is unrealistic. So I am making a plea both to the politicians in terms of how they choose to act tomorrow, and for all of Tobago to stand in support of the residents who are saying, we are not against the development, we are not against moving. The only thing we request is that we be treated in a humane manner, that we be paid fairly, and that the right transitionary operation be given for persons to move. If efforts are being made, then please support the effort. So I encourage one and all to come out and let's rally around the residents so that the necessary support can be given. And if the criminal operation is expelled on residents, I am saying, please let us be true and just and supportive in how this process takes place, because we don't want an airport to be constructed where persons can look back and look forward and have a true, genuine appreciation for what has been done. I thank you greatly for this opportunity and look forward to see how this would unravel. May God be our support, strength, and guide.
All right. Thank you so much there, Rhonda Hackett, for chatting with us.
Yes, indeed, giving us some updates on what's happening down there in the Crown Point area. So it's going to become once again a very interesting time. I saw even responses coming out from the Chief Secretary regarding arrangements being made, and the status with a number of the families. Obviously, a call for more time in order to facilitate the full move. And I think I heard Ms. Hackett make reference to there in terms of the particular challenge, at least for one of the families, in terms of being able to move within this time frame. Very interesting, and we look forward to seeing what the developments would ultimately lead to in this circumstance.
All right, well, Julian, we are certainly looking forward to how things continue to unravel, and I guess by tomorrow we're going to have some better information with regards to this move. But I'll tell you, it is a difficult one. It is a difficult move. We're dealing with people and people's emotions and people's lives and their histories and their everything, and this would be a difficult move. Yes, we understand, and as Rhonda Hackett indicated, the residents are not they are in favor of the move. They understand the move. They understand the purpose of the move, but at the same time, it doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah, most definitely, and I think the intention of, from what I understood, the Cove, section as well as Chauvin development under that would have been started under the former administration, led by the then Chief Secretary, Mr. Kelvin Charles. I think the intention was to seek to utilize that as the alternative so that residents would now have been able to get first preference in those areas, but it would appear that that did not necessarily work out for all of the residents under the circumstance, because she has brought a valid point in relation to the Oropoon Garden situation. And if I'm not mistaken, some of those persons who were in the vicinity when the lands needed to be acquired for the airport expansion project in Piarco, they were squatters. If my information is accurate and I stand to be corrected, they were squatters, and it's not a case that they had even owned the lands in that area. But they were catered for in terms of within, by and large, within the Orapun Gardens and so on. So very interesting to see where this will go. And certainly, as much as the new administration, would not have been the one responsible, they certainly now need to take on the burden in terms of trying to put the best arrangements in place as the THA to support the residents in that area based on the relevant challenges. And you saw the Chief Secretary speaking to that. And then we've clearly heard the position of the central government and even the minister reiterating that they were willing. And I think she went as far to say in the interview, even those who did not come forward to negotiate up front and were now saying that they were ready to negotiate, the central government was still prepared to facilitate those discussions to give them, in terms of whatever the financials and the benefits that they were due to receive. So we look forward to seeing where this story goes, and we'll continue to keep on top of this matter happening here in the Tobago space. It is, I almost said it's Wednesday, and let me send my commendations out. It's Thursday, folks, and we're heading into Ria's favorite day of the week, Friday, tomorrow. And commendations to Youth Wednesday. And we have a new youth host that joined in the mix, Luke, joining in with Dwayne. And I want to say commendations, indeed. And it's always a pleasant thing when you see Ria, young men. Young men are standing up in the mix, stepping forward there, and really doing their thing as part of the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here each and every Wednesday in terms of our young persons doing their thing in the mix. Most definitely, we want to continue to commend and to encourage. And we thank each and every one of you for your continued love and support. We're number one, and I always say it because of you, because of each and every one of you viewing and listening each and every day to the Tobago Updates morning show.
All right, so we get ready to wrap up. Just before we go, we want to say special good morning going out to two of our live members, live followers, that is Collis Hazel, who joined us this morning on the live, and Diane Lacroix. Good morning. I haven't seen you, heard about you, but Diane, it's good to have you on the live with us today. And to Tobago
Hazel is on the live?
Yes, Collis Hazel.
I feel Collis has to use some. Let me put Collis in the hot seat. Collis, you have to use some of that experience with group travel to help some of our colleagues here in Tobago, perhaps. Who knows? We'll chat about that, Collis.
I am not going there. All right. Tobago Love is on the live, and Tobago Love has a lot to say. So for those of you who are not on the live, you need to check out the live this morning. Panther, why all this space for terminal building? We're going to leave that there, Panther, but certainly lots happening in the Tobago space, and we encourage you to check us out here on Tobago Updates. Remember, GMT is coming up next with Candace, so do not move. You've got a bathroom break and get back in front of the television, or walk with your cell phone, because we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Yes. All right, so have a great day, Tobago. We're looking forward to Friday tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones. I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
We are rubber we need for a good friend. We are plenty bacchanal. Hate to see people stressing. Them kind of thing that's get clever. When you see I lose it. For the love of carnival. You're moving your ways.
Entertainment. Yes, we're bringing it to you. Tobago Updates. It's all about the new entertainment show. The VIP experience hosted by your boy, Snoopy. Tune in every Wednesday from 8 p.m. and on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. We're bringing to you the best Tobago has to offer. We're showcasing interviews, music, and everything that is fun. So join me on Tobago Updates for the VIP experience. Yeah, man.
Watch all your back in back on me. Like about to overload. Watch them sexy Bago woman. Beauty from head to toes in the sun. Skin food don't need no lotion.
Live, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She says our destiny to get next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Live, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Calypso Rose called on Chief Secretary Fali Augustine and Deputy Chief Secretary Watson Duke to behave. According to a Newsday article, Calypso Rose condemned the public power struggle ongoing between the two men and said that it does not bode well for the people of Tobago. Saddened by the public disagreement to find a way to work out their differences. She said there's a lot of work to get done on the island and the energy is being wasted on dealing with the situation. Meanwhile, budget discussions took place in Port of Spain yesterday between Finance Minister Calm Imbert and Chief Secretary Fali Augustine. In June, Augustine presented a budget statement for the Tobago House of Assembly worth $3.97 billion. Discussions between the Finance Minister and the THA are customary before the national budget reading. It allows the Finance Secretary a chance to negotiate with the Finance Minister for Tobago to receive what it needs for its development. The national budget will be read on Monday, 26 September 2022. And now, nationally, cases of influenza virus increased significantly in the country compared to the previous year. However, epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines believes it may not be a fair comparison since testing was more focused on COVID-19 last year. Speaking at the Ministry of Health's COVID-19 update, he said that influenza seems to be the more dominant non-COVID-19 diagnosis manifesting itself, with the H3N2 influenza strain mostly in circulation. Dr. Hines explained that increased movement among the population and travel are the major factors contributing to higher influenza cases. And that was in news in 90 seconds. And then by way of a public service announcement, WASA is advising the public that, that there's traffic restrictions at this time in Milford Court in Bon Accord. And this is some works that are taking place in that area towards a sewer manhole. So that sewer manhole is under repair right now. And that's taking place from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And now, as I mentioned, now you're seeing some pictures up on the screen. And that is some work that has been happening opposite the hotel, that area where, you know, there seems to be and flood seems to be no more because the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Renewal has cleared the drain and done the necessary works to eliminate that major body of water that's been there and has been an eyesore, been a pleasant sight of years actually, because several years, you know, motorists have been passing through there and then they're faced with that water. Well, that's no longer been the case. So thank you to the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development for doing the necessary work to finally get that area cleared. And of course, yesterday, we forgot to mention it on the show, but yesterday, you know, Bishop's High School celebrated 97 years of being in existence. And, you know, I just want to say congratulations to Bishop's, my alma mater. I mean, of course, I always have to shout them out. But, you know, I mean, it's certainly a great testimony to be part of the Tobago landscape for so long. And we're looking forward to, in 3 years' time, celebrating the centennial. So, because we know Bishops has contributed a lot to our space in Tobago. Now, getting on with the show, we have on with us Dr. Shane Mohammed. Of course, you know, Dr. Shane Mohammed is no stranger to us. And, you know, he comes in at these crucial times when there's a lot happening within our space, just to give his perspective as a geopolitical scientist within our space as to what's been happening. Now, special good morning and welcome to you, Dr. Shane. How are you doing?
Good morning, Candace. How are you? I'm great.
You're great. Always good to see you. Now, we've had these latest developments. We've seen, we had the chairman of the PDP yesterday on set with us, Dr. Sean Nad, sorry. And he explained the position of the executive right now, and which is basically to show support to the political leader no matter what's going on. And he alluded to that there is something wrong between the relationship with the executive and Mr. Fali Augustine. Some things may not have been going the way that they intended it to go, and we're here at a situation. What are your take on that whole conversation?
Well, I'm very concerned because the last time we spoke on this matter, I explicitly said that the matter was not one that was political, but one that was more towards good governance, and I'm very much concerned about the position of the executive um, from the perspective that you know, their full support behind the political leader. If it is that an executive cannot rein in the political leader of a party because of um, perceived and alleged him allegedly alluding to something that can be categorized as illegal in the greater frame of good governance, then something is clearly wrong in terms of the understanding of the executive as to their role and function. Of course. Now, I don't. I maintain that there was not, in my opinion, um, that the chief secretary said in his statement that caused me any great concern um, from the perspective that he had done anything illegally, or he had done or practiced or you know performed any of his duties unethically. What I believe the chief secretary had done was to bring to the attention of the general public um, a concern of his that came after that damning video, which really was and that damning video was, in my opinion, quite a misrepresentation of the truth.
Hmm. And
And
following, sorry,
go ahead.
following from those statements, and just looking at the situation right now, do you think that we can have a positive resolve?
You see, the thing about it is that I don't agree with persons. Um, there are persons that are saying to both Farley and to both Watson that they need to behave, they need to get their house in order, and they need to stop this and that kind of thing. What exactly do people expect from the chief secretary? And when they say the chief secretary needs to behave, in what manner should the chief secretary behave? Because the chief secretary is not wrong in this issue, and he's not wrong in the whole scheme of things. The chief secretary, as far as I am concerned, I am aware, and as far as I am concerned, the chief secretary is responding to something that, and has responded to something that damage the people's confidence in his ability to lead the island. And the chief secretary brought to our attention an issue that can that can damage the reputation of the current administration. And we have to take into consideration that our society, be it Tobago, be it Trinidad, or be it Trinidad and Tobago, is one that does not, if not properly informed, it can act in a manner that is unforgiving and has the potential to also make take political actions that can lead to huge mistakes. So when I hear people saying, and I have all let me put it like this, I have the greatest of respect and regard for people like Calypso Rose and whoever else that are weighing in on the issue. But don't weigh in on the issue in a manner where you are telling both of the men to behave. How else do you want the chief secretary to behave? What do you want the chief secretary to do? The chief secretary has a responsibility to the people of Tobago, and by extension, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the oath that he took, right, that requires him to act in a manner that is free and fair and whatnot and whatnot. But at the end of the day, you can't tell the chief secretary to behave in a manner that is a crisis that has been sparked by the deputy chief secretary. I'm looking at the front page of the is it the Guardian? Yeah, the front page of the Guardian. No, the Newsday, and it says "Show me your motion," and my perspective is, if Duke feels so strongly about how at least Duke they've taken a different position. In fact, what the chief secretary has done, he's taken up a very strong position, and one that is much more politically aggressive than the one that I suggested. I suggested that Duke pack up his Jahaji bundles, put in a letter of resignation as the deputy chief secretary, and go over on the other side with his political leadership. The chief secretary went a different course. Show me your motion. Bring a motion of no confidence in me. And if you win, I will resign. But if I win, bust it, right? I'll bust your throat.
What do you think?
We can't expect.
What do you think would be the outcome if Watson Duke brings that motion of no confidence against Chief Secretary Farley Augustine?
Candice, Farley Augustine is a breath of fresh air in the political space of Trinidad and Tobago, right? He's a breath of fresh air in the political space of Trinidad and Tobago. There isn't someone who has not listened to him. He captivates their mind. He captivates someone's attention. He walks into a room and the room stops because the chief secretary has arrived. And when he opens his mouth, he doesn't speak with a script, right? He speaks from within himself. He speaks from his brain. He speaks from his heart. He speaks based on his upbringing, right? He adds a new level of confidence in politics and a freshness to the political arena. And as a result of that, he has gained a lot more respect for coming forward and explaining the people of Tobago and by extension Trinidad what he has been faced with regarding that video by the deputy chief secretary. If I was in the chief secretary's shoes, I would have acted differently. I would have probably acted much harsher than he is. And I don't believe that there's any need for Tobago at this point in time to lose any confidence in the chief secretary. I think what would happen is I support the chief secretary's words. Bring the motion of no confidence, and let's see who's going to stand with you. And if you end up losing, I will bring the motion of no confidence in you and let the chips fall where they may. This is not a crisis. This is the furthest thing from a crisis. Why? Because the governance of the THA is very much secured by the fact that one from 14 is 13. They can more than function with 13, and the additional councillors that can be given roles within the administration. It only just shows the true characteristics and character of Watson Duke, and I make no apologies for that.
And what does this mean for the PDP's chances in Trinidad? Because it's also a concern now that Mr. Duke's behavior will affect the party's chances that was gaining some ground down in Trinidad.
Candice, when we all went to that to that launch, right? I will share with you from now that there was nothing about that launch that impressed me as a political scientist. And those who were around me at the time, I kept shaking my head. The PDP in Trinidad is not in sync with the PDP in Tobago. The PDP in Tobago, which is the original PDP, comes from an origin of deep humility and one that touch the people in terms of physically touch the people. And I didn't like what I would term the characters that Watson had co-opted to be part of his executive, because there was an air about them that did not, for me, it didn't work in sync with the origins, which is in Tobago, and I didn't see it being successful, to be quite honest. And I don't, within the last couple of months, the PDP in Trinidad has gone virtually silent. So the answer to your question is Tobago, the PDP in Tobago is in safe hands with regard to the chief secretary. Let's forget about Trinidad and the PDP.
Do you think now that, I mean, based on your interpretation of what happened in Trinidad, do you think that that Mr. Duke now realized that perhaps that breaking into that Trinidad political ground is a little bit tougher than he anticipated, and because of that, you know, he realized that he also gave up that chance to really lead in Tobago. He gave that to Mr. Augustine, and I mean, because of just wanting that ability to lead and I guess that power, he made those comments and he stood up all these problems within the administration.
I will say this, that the PDP won the THA elections because of the charisma, the humility, and the ability of Farley Augustine and his team to captivate the minds of the Tobagonian people with a vision, a realistic vision of what Tobago can look like in the near future, both from a short, medium, and long-term perspective. Had it been Watson Duke that was leading the PDP in the elections, I don't believe that the PDP would have secured so many seats. And furthermore, I don't believe, I think, given the current scenario and the current demand that the chief secretary, the current demand that the deputy chief secretary has put on the chief secretary for something as minor as 27 persons who did not go as representatives of the THA, but in a private capacity, that has caused this debacle, right? It shows that the deputy chief secretary would have he would have squandered the goodwill of the people of Tobago and their vote, and that would have been a very disappointing, for the lack of a better word, outcome. I also would say that I don't believe that Watson Duke understands true leadership, and he has not transitioned from being a trade unionist into a politician, because I reiterate again, he does not understand how public administration and governance functions in this country by virtue of the rules and regulations of the public sector and by the virtue of the Constitution.
And then when it comes to Mr. Duke's position right now in the THA, well, of course, he sits as the Deputy Chief Secretary. Do you think that Watson will resign, or will he wait until Mr. Augustine and the Executive Council makes a decision?
He's not going to resign, and he's going to have to wait. He's going to wait until what he's doing, he's provoking the chief secretary, and he keeps pushing the chief secretary because he believes somehow that he created the chief secretary. He gave him political life. He gave him political relevance. One can only do that for so long, to a certain extent, and then that individual who you have mentored, for the lack of a better word, and they go out on their own. They then move from being in a it's like a butterfly, the stages of a butterfly's life. They go from being a caterpillar going into the cocoon, and then the cocoon bursts and the butterfly opens, right? That is what has happened with the chief secretary. He's his own person. He's his own politician. He's authentic. He's an authentic leader, and that is not as a result of Farley Augustine. That is as a result of the chief secretary bringing his own characteristics and traits to the table. So, at the end of the day, the Farley Augustine, he's going to be continually provoked and pushed by the deputy chief secretary to act, and eventually he's going to have to act. And for me, the sooner the better. Let us put this behind us and get on with the people's work.
Okay, and I guess that's a good point to leave off to end our conversation. And I want to thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed, and giving us your perspective. All right, viewers. Well, we have a lot more coming up on the program, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back right after this break.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Life, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She says our destiny. She get next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Settle down with me, lady. You know, to say you are drive me crazy.
Guinness welcomes Mavado and his full band with rising superstar Ken. Life, the concert. Powered by Guinness and Strictly FX.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. And now we are getting into some more light-hearted conversations. And I am being joined by Miss Monifa St. Clair, and she's the creative director and lead designer for Zarabi. I got it right?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so we are talking about just her representation at the New York Fashion Week and a collection called Resort 23.
Welcome to Tobago. Good morning, everybody. Actually, the name of the collection is Welcome to Tobago, and I was so privileged to have it showcased in New York Fashion Week on Saturday. along with some of my fellow Tobagonian designers. So it was such a privilege. Really happy that that was able to happen with the help of the Tobago House of Assembly.
So tell me a little bit about your designs and, you know, what were you presenting out there?
Okay, so initially when I sat down and thought about what I wanted this collection to reflect, I really thought about the vibrance of Tobago people and Tobago in terms of the flora, the fauna, everything that makes Tobago the space it is. So we are nothing without the people, we are nothing without the marine life. So my collection is really supposed to encapsulate and embody that. I really wanted to have the vibrant marine tones, majestic, nice jewel tones, and I wanted people in New York and internationally and regionally to really have a feel, look at the collection and be able to feel the warmth of us as Tobagonians through fashion.
And you have a lot of tie-dye prints, but it's just a very unique tie-dye print style.
Okay, so I did not want to do just a regular floral print. You know, I thought about sitting at the beach and seeing the sunset, and then just thinking about all the colors being merged together. Have you ever done scuba diving or snorkeling?
Yes.
Right, so as soon as you go down, the colors, they're not muddled, but they kind of, before everything is clear, right. So that's why I decided, let me try crackle tie-dye and HWI and see how it works. And it really worked out well. I think every single piece would have embodied exactly what I felt. So the marine tones, because there are the marine tones, and then we have the floral hues, like what I'm wearing right now, which is supposed to really embody like the bougainvillea, the hibiscus, all of our lovely tropical flowers. So yes, that's what inspired it.
And how did you get connected or get chosen or even were able to go and present your stuff to New York? Or to have your stuff presented in New York? Because I know you didn't exactly go. But
yes, so that's actually a very funny but important story for all creatives, especially in Tobago. We tend to not take social media very seriously, and I started posting from my resort page on TikTok. And this company reached out to me, Miami Swim Week, because I also do swimwear. And they reached out to me and they said, hey, do you want to be a part of Miami Swim Week? And I was like, me? You know, and from there, I wasn't able to go to Miami swimming because the time, it was a little too close. It was about 2 months away. So I decided, I said, hey, put me down for a New York show. And then other designers from Tobago came on board. So we were all able to experience it together.
And what was the reception?
Oh, well, the feedback that I received from the stylists and everybody is that they loved it. The producer called the following day and he was like, everybody is just raving. Because, you know, New York is like little Trinidad and Tobago, right? So they loved it. They felt like each collection was so unique to Tobago. They have a lot of, they've had a lot of interactions with Trinidad, but not so much with Tobago. So they had a few, yes. But this is the first in a very long time that designers from Tobago have showcased in New York. So it's a really big thing. And then New York Fashion Week is returning. This was basically the return after the last 2 years with COVID-19. So it was a very, very big thing and received really well.
And how would this inspire you now to move forward and to, you know, just to continue developing your craft?
Oh, see, I'm still trying to actually believe that it's happened.
Well, it's happening.
But I have some plans that I have already. I usually plan about a year or two in advance. I have some plans. I have to just cross this one off the list and then we move on to the other one. With everything, I just want to continue to keep Tobago at the front of everything I do, you know, because I love my home and every single thing I do is inspired by Tobago. So I just want to continue doing that for Tobago. So that's going to be my inspiration there.
Now, you also mentioned that you do swimwear.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So could you just like you know, give us an idea of, you know, what is your swimwear line like, and you know, some of the other things that you're doing?
Sure. So last year, was it? I believe a year ago, I did my first swimwear collection, and that was the Serengeti. You know, I had fallen in love with a lot of animal prints and really inspired by that. So a lot of neutral tones. As brown girls or brown women, we don't see enough neutral tones that are our tones. So although it was a lot of animal prints, there were quite a lot brown hues. And I felt that my clientele would have really appreciated that, because a lot of times when you get a neutral, it's not our neutral tone, and you know, you kind of feel left out. So it was inspired by that, and what I'm currently working on right now, resort swim collection to match the Welcome to Tobago resort wear line.
Wow, some really exciting stuff in the pipeline. And I just want you to, you know, tell me a little bit about how you got into fashion, and why did you really choose this industry?
I think I like to say it chose me. I grew up with my mom. My mom is a creative, so I grew up. My favorite thing to do was not go outside and play, or play with friends or anything like that. I would just really like to help her in her workshop, prepare for trade shows and all of those things. And funny enough, it's exactly where I ended up, you know. And I say ended up because I have tried other things, was really good at it, but something just kept pulling me back to the fashion side.
Well, you have a passion.
Yes,
certainly.
I really do. I really do. So that's where I got my start, and it just brought much joy. I can't even explain, you know, the feeling I can't even explain. I work around the clock, literally around the clock, and it doesn't really bother me much because it's what I love to do.
And you know, it's coming out in your pieces, because when you look at, like, especially what you're wearing right now, and then what we saw, you know, that was showcased out in New York, like, you're seeing that vibrancy and that passion that's just coming out in your pieces.
Great.
So, I mean, how does it feel to see your stuff come to light and come to being, and then to be able to exhibit it on the world stage?
I still, as I just said, I still maybe wondering that I might wake up and like, this is a dream, because it really is a dream. It was a lot of hard work, but thankfully I had a lot of support. You know, we had a lot of support, and we're really happy that the Tobago House of Assembly actually gave us the opportunity and supported us as creatives, because being a creative, I can tell you, it's so difficult. It's really difficult. I'm not saying that other spheres aren't as important as we are, but we are never really given the opportunity. It's true, but we received support. To see the dream come true, it feels like there's no words I can use to explain. But really elated, really elated.
Great.
And I hope that I'm able to end, that we, myself and the other designers, we were able to inspire other creatives and other persons in the field to reach for higher, achieve greater things, and to see that, hey, we can make it from a small little island, the greatest island in the world. We could actually make it out there, you know. So I really hope that I was an inspiration, myself and my colleagues, that we were an inspiration to somebody in Tobago, even if it's a young child or anyone.
And at this point now, I want you to give the viewers a chance to connect with you, because, you know, we're seeing what you're wearing, and we saw the images there, and, you know, we need to be able to support each other as Tobagonians, you know, with our space, especially our creatives like yourself, because, like you said, it's not easy. So give us an idea of how we can get connected with you.
Sure. So you can follow me on Facebook or on Instagram or even on TikTok at House of Zarabi. And you'll see all the contact information there. You can see how to book a consultation. You can even just jump in the inbox, have a short conversation with me, and I can tell you where we can go from there. You know, so that's House of Xarabii.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Sinclair, for just being here with us and to just sharing your passion. And I really hope that we also didn't just inspire other creatives like yourself, but inspire people to come on board to support you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Have a good day.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, viewers, so that's it for this interview. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be back right after this break.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero, champion, fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8 477. Report possible border crime.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. And well, our last interview for this morning is with the lovely Miss Jackie James. And she is the shelter administrator for the TTSPCA Tobago shelter. Of course, that's the animal shelter here in Tobago, located in Frenchfield. Now, we're here to talk about, of course, a special good morning and welcome to you. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing fine.
Okay, great. So we're going to get a conversation kicked off on a low-cost spay and neuter clinic that you guys have going on.
Right. So the low-cost spay and neuter clinic, also termed as SPOT, which basically means Tobago's sterilization campaign. So with this, we aim to have a lot of animals be spayed and neutered at a reduced cost. Let's say $100 for registration. And in this, it's occurring on the 1st and 2nd of October. You basically have to call into the shelter at 639-2567 to register. Let us know what date and time that you are available to bring your animal in, as well as we want to gauge on the importance of this program and all the benefits that it could provide for your animal, you know, such as simple things like your animals may not be able, your animals may not feel the need to roam the streets, you know, get hit by cars, they may get into fights. If they are spayed or neutered, it eradicates that. It also eradicates certain cancers, tumors, even STDs that your animals can contract.
Wait, so you're trying to tell me that animals can contract STDs?
Yes, there are a series of, but off the top of my head, I could remember chlamydia. Chlamydia for sure, they can contract chlamydia, as well as even if your animals, especially your female ones, they would not come into heat. So therefore, you wouldn't have a host of stray dogs or other animals roaming around your compound, creating a nuisance, because most people would also know is that when a female dog is in heat, then the male dogs can also become aggressive, right? Then the spay and neuter campaign, we also have our annual general meeting.
Okay, well, before we get into the annual general meeting, I just want to talk about spay and neuter just a little bit. Because, I mean, people hear it, but they don't always respond to it. And I know, I mean, it's one of the things that you guys struggle with, getting the public on board with spaying and neutering their animals. So a lot of times you think, you know, you want to keep your dog because you want to breed them and stuff like that. But, or, you know, they wouldn't want to come forward with the animals to spay and neuter because they think it's too expensive. But you guys are having it there done at a low cost.
Yes, we are. We used to have it free, but you know, due to funding, we can't subsidize it as much as we would like to. In addition, it's also very beneficial that these animals are done because over the past month alone, we have received over 200 animals at the shelter.
Wow.
Right, and so it shows program during the pandemic. It shows the importance of it via the amount of animals that we are accepting at periods, right? So it's not logical to have your animal breed, even if it's one litter, because what happens is this animal makes, let's say, 8 puppies. You keep 1 and then you magically find homes for the remaining 7. The people who you give these animals to, they may not be as responsible and allow these animals to breed. And then your 2 animals that you remain, and then you're unable to factor in a spay-neuter procedure at normal cost. This animal is going to breed again and again and again, right? Sometimes animals breed all the way up to 10 years and over, and it puts tremendous stress on the animal, right? Yes. And all these animals end up straight back by the shelter, and even that is a form of animal abandonment and abuse.
And then we also have a lot of animals just roaming around on the streets. And, you know, of course, they're suffering and they don't have things to eat, and then it gets into the garbage. So, I mean, we have all these things that we complain about, and then we don't do anything about it. And then the worst part of it is that there are people within our space that decide that poisoning an animal is the best way to go.
No, poisoning is not the best way to go. It's actually very inhumane. When you poison an animal, it suffers right through until it dies, right? So for all the strays that are wrong, it's only $100 to get them fixed. Once the animal is under 20 kilograms, then you would automatically register for the program. And you could sponsor a stray, you know, help a stray live a better life, live stress-free. It's already on the streets, so might as well help her out so that she can manage and take care of herself.
And not just that, so that, you know, they don't reproduce on the streets.
No, they don't. They would not be able to reproduce on the street because they would not come into heat, right? As well as with the males, if you neuter them, then there is no need for them to become aggressive. You know, you have, because tourism is Tobago's major income, right? So if you have tourists on the beach, you wouldn't want a whole pack of dogs running after one female dog, and then they are aggressive and they may want to rush at you for that. So I think it's very important that a lot of individuals take heed to this campaign and they register today.
Okay, so you guys also have the animal shelter itself, the TTPSC in Tobago, has an annual general meeting coming up.
Yes, we do. So with this annual general meeting, it's taking place on September 28th at 4 p.m. located directly at the shelter. We will also set up a Facebook Live for individuals who can't physically attend. With this, it gives the public of Trinidad and Tobago the opportunity to become members, annual members and life members of the shelter. You get more involved in the shelter's operations. You get to assist the shelter further to elevate, because, you know, we always are looking for more funding, looking for more opportunities to make a better life for the animals that we house, even to give information as well as to educate Trinidad and Tobago about the benefits of making sure your animal is completely healthy, right? Because we also do have a clinic on site. So if it is that your animal is sick or needs treatment, you could also bring it to the shelter for that. So being involved within the shelters, being involved within the shelter can be very beneficial, right? Because we are always seeking for new individuals to come and help us in our goals.
And I don't think people also realize the work that you guys do, because, you know, I mean, for those who thankfully do not go the way of poisoning animals, they think, okay, well, we have this litter of puppies and cats and kittens, and you're just like, okay, you can just drop it off by the shelter. A lot of the times, you guys, I mean, we see the postings and stuff. You just arrive at the shelter, and then there are boxes of puppies and cats just there. And I mean, of course, you guys move in to take care of it, but it comes at a cost.
It does. It really does come at a cost, and we ask for donations when people bring animals in, but most times we don't get, right? Because you always face with, these are not my animals, I just found them. I don't have any money, we just came out of the pandemic, to which we all understand. But our status at present is that we are also at a state where if we accommodate too much animal, because cost for food has increased.
Yes.
Cost of medication has increased.
Yes.
Even detergents and sanitizers has increased. And we also have to fit the bill for all those as well, right? So when individuals do bring their animal in, yes, we do take animals in for little to nothing, but we also like to indicate that, and it's a memorable moment for me, there was a day that we took in more than 14 animals.
Oh my.
So to find space for all these animals was extremely difficult on top of the animals already housed there.
Okay.
Right? So we really do need a lot of assistance in what we do. So even when we reach out to our social media, everything that is needed of the shelter, you could always go out on TTSPCA Tobago on our Facebook page or Instagram. Right?
And so folks, I mean, of course, we have this low-cost pay and neuter clinic happening. It's just $100. Get all of your animals paid and neutered, because let's do our part to reduce the stray population there out on the streets and to ensure that we don't have a major animal problem. Okay, and I guess one more thing?
Yes, please. So at present, we are trying to have 2 of our shelter animals transported to New York. So even if we don't have individual in Trinidad and Tobago interested, we are trying to outsource. So we have all our documentation and everything in set. Of hit a major roadblock where we need someone specifically on flight BW422. That's a Wednesday night flight, who would be willing to accommodate us in taking the animals over with them as a carry-on in a sense. Right? So if anybody on PW422 is available and they would like to assist us, you could always give us a call. Our number is 639-2567, or you could give us a message on Facebook. Right?
Okay. Great. I want to thank you so much, Ms. James. And at this point, I would like to say, visit the shelter. There's a lot of times that we think that we need a specific breed of dog, and I'm just here to say that sometimes some of the best dogs that you can get are those that are rescued. They are more loyal and they have less health problems. So, visit the animal shelter, see how much you can assist, and, give a dog a good home. Treat our animals right. Because, of course, if we treat our animals right, the love that we get from them is like none other. I like to say that, there's nothing more loyal and there's no one who loves you more than a dog or a cat. So most of the times a dog, because cats have their own strange personalities. But yes, visit the animal shelter, consider adopting one of the animals from there, a dog or a cat. Don't always go for those that you have to buy or have for just the prettiness of it. All right, viewers, that's how I'm going to leave the conversation this morning. It was a pleasure being with you. We'll see you again tomorrow for a wonderful show. So hope you have a wonderful, safe, and productive day. Bye for now.
Hear me neighbor, 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong.